Hey, what's up, guys? So today we are going to be doing our New England IPA. I know a lot of you guys want to see this. It's pretty much the biggest style right now on the craft beer market. So today is my first attempt at one. My homebrew club is actually doing a competition later this month where we're forcing everybody to do a New England IPA. This is pretty cool because a lot of people in my club don't necessarily like brewing IPAs and they don't like New England IPAs. So this is going to be getting some people out of their comfort zone. So today I'm going to be doing a double IPA. So let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so here is my grain bill. You can see we're going 13 pounds of 2-row. That's the base. That's the base malt. We're going to do 2 pounds of flaked oats, 2 pounds of flaked wheat, 8 ounces of caravine, 8 ounces of honey, just to give it some sweetness and a little bit of body to it. Then you can see our hop schedule. The Galaxy hops right now are pretty much not on the market because there was a shortage. So I had to find these any way I could. Luckily, my local homebrew shop still had a couple 6-ounce bags, or 8-ounce bags, so I bought both of those. So that was a little pricey, but I got them. But you can see, one of the things with the New England IPA, there's not a whole lot of bittering additions. I am actually not doing a single bittering addition. I'm going right for my end of boil additions, and that's all I'm doing. So you can see here I'm doing my citra at 15. That's 1 ounce. Citra is, this percentage isn't right. I believe it's 13.9 is the ones I have. But you can see right there, that's going to be the only quote-unquote bittering charge, even though it is not a bittering charge. We're going to do a 5-minute addition of Galaxy, and then we're going to do a whole lot of Whirlpool additions, which this is the key thing for the New England style, is that you're going to do a lot of Whirlpool additions. You can see we're doing a total of 4 ounces in the Whirlpool for a 30-minute Whirlpool, and my Whirlpool will be around 175, 180 degrees. You still do get some alpha utilization, so some bitterness does come out of here. So if you're using Beersmith or any other type of software, make sure it's updated. The new updated Beersmith does account for this. I'm going with wyeyeast. That's normally I use White Labs. I did want to try this wyeyeast 1318 because it is the most talked about yeast for the New England IPA. I believe WLP007 would be the White Labs version. And you can see my dry hop. This isn't set in stone yet. I may go more. I may use what's there. But the key thing with the New England style is that you're going to do a dry hop at high Kreuzen. So I will show you that later in the video. But that is the biggest thing you have to do with a New England IPA. So I'm going to be doing a 2-ounce addition of azzaca, 2 ounce of Galaxy, and 1 ounce of citra. I may break these up and go 1-1-1 for the high Kreuzen, and then do another 2-ounce addition at the end of fermentation. So the next big thing here is going to be your water additions. This is my brewing water that I use in all my videos. You can see here I set up a New England IPA profile. I don't really have a rhyme or reason to this. I did a little bit of research online, and this is just the one that sounded best to me. The big things you want to remember when you're doing a New England IPA as far as water goes is to make sure that your chloride and sulfate are reversed. Normally on an IPA, your sulfate would be much higher than your chloride, usually a 2-to-1 ratio, but you actually reverse this. So now you can see we're doing a 2-to-1 ratio in the opposite direction. The reason for that is New England IPAs traditionally don't have a lot of bitterness. They're usually pretty smooth, and they have a lot of mouthfeel, so that's why you use the chloride. As for everything else, calcium, magnesium, sodium, it's about the traditional area it'd be for an IPA. The calcium's a little high, but again, that promotes mouthfeel. Bicarbonate, I'm actually going to be shooting low. I'm going to be down around 12, but that's okay. That's just my water that I use is pretty soft, so if I go any higher with that, I'll have to add some acid somewhere else, which I don't want to do. And you can see down here what it comes out to be. I'm going to be adding 2 grams of gypsum, and I'm going to be adding roughly 2 grams of calcium chloride. And then in the sparge, again, I don't sparge with 8 gallons of water. This is just how big it is because my sparge, my lauter ton is my Herms unit. So I need a little more water to cover the coil, but I only am actually sparging with 4 gallons. So you see 8, but I don't actually sparge with 8. But you can see here, these got to be a little higher to account for 8. But my batch size here is a 6 gallon. The reason I'm going 6 gallons is because there's a lot of hops in this, and I'm going to have a lot of loss in the fermenter and going into the fermenter. So a 6-gallon batch has me to account for the losses. Realistically, I only need 5 gallons of this beer. So a couple things I want to touch on before brew day. So the New England style is all about being hazy. If you've never had a New England style, it is traditionally very low bitterness, like I said before. Very juicy is the word you'll hear a lot. And a lot of times if it's done wrong, you'll have a lot of sludge in it. A lot of these breweries now are putting out beers that they're going overboard with what they're trying to do with the haze, and it's just not good. I mean, if you see some of these cans that are out there, you're getting sludge at the bottom of the can, and it's just a lot of yeast and hop particles and stuff that really shouldn't be in the can. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan, but some of the stuff's good. If you've had the greats, I mean, some of the big ones out there, Trillium, Treehouse, Tired Hands, Monkish, those are the big ones right now. They are putting out some excellent beer. I mean, it's good. So I want to be more along the lines of what Treehouse does. If you get some of their beers 3 weeks later, you're not getting sludge in the can. So I'm trying to go more for that type of a haze rather than what you see with Tired Hands, where a week later in some of their milkshake beers, there's about an inch worth of sludge. So I don't want that. Key things with the style, you want to make sure you're using some kind of flaked oat or flaked wheat, something flaked. It's going to promote to some protein haze. That's a big part of the haze. Also a low flocculent yeast, so English strains are the best. You can see here's what the flaked oats looks like. You don't mill this. You don't mill any flaked grains at all. And there's flaked wheat, a little darker. But it basically looks just like oatmeal. I believe you can use oatmeal. Just watch, because I know some of the Quaker oats and stuff is going to have some preservatives in it and some other stuff that you don't want necessarily. If you're going to do it, you should use rolled oats or organic, something that doesn't have anything in it. These, I mean, your local homebrew shop should sell stuff like this. And I believe all they do is roll these through a mill, and that's really it. I could be wrong there, but I think that's all they do. And then as far as my grain bill goes, it's just 2-row and some other things to promote head retention. So that's pretty much it for the style. Your hops are going to be a big part. The New England style loves citrus hops. You'll hear the word dank a lot, so if it's like almost like it smells like marijuana, that's the type of stuff that the New England style really likes. So like Galaxy, Azzaca, Citra. Citra's a big one. That's almost in every single New England IPA you'll get. Mosaic, things like that. You don't really want to go with the Columbus, Centennial. You can go with them, but they're a little more the West Coast style, a little more earthy than they are citrusy. So, but you can experiment, do anything you want. So that's the fun of being a home brewer. So let's get on the brew day. I'm going to mill up these grains, and then we're going to mash in. Okay, guys. So we are about 20 minutes into the mash. You can see it's looking like straight up oatmeal. One thing I recommend doing anytime you're using oats is put them in after the grains so they sit on top. It'll help prevent a stuck sparge, especially if you're like me running a recirculation. So you can see most of my oats are on the top. And that's really how you want to do it. If you mix them in, it's not a big deal. I would just recommend using rice hulls, but I always toss mine right on top. Okay, so we are now getting our boil up. I'll show you, this is what our pre-boil haze is starting to look like. You can see color is gorgeous. It's going to get a little darker from the boil, but that haziness is pretty good. That's just from the grain. So obviously we're going to get more haziness from hop haze and also from the yeast. But this is, I mean, it's actually relatively clear, but not too bad. That's definitely your normal protein haze. All right. So after I updated my alphas, which you need to make sure you always do on hops, because sometimes the system's wrong, I was a little high on my IBUs, so I actually decreased my first edition. I'm going to put that 0.25 back into the whirlpool. So that's coming up now. I got about 20 seconds left until I add the addition. Here is 0.75 ounces of citra. We're going to add that to the boil now. Okay, so we are at 15 minutes left in the boil. Let's add our first hop addition. So again, I don't do any early bittering additions. as this is what the most New England recipes call for. I also don't do any fining agents at all. So now we have our second hop addition, which is our 5-minute remaining of an ounce of Galaxy. Okay, so we are getting ready for the whirlpool. We're down to 170 degrees. We're going to add our massive 4-ounce addition. Alright, and now we wait half hour. So what we do to maintain the 170 degrees is I turn my burner on. You can barely see that. But I turn it on as low as it can go. And that should keep just enough heat on this to keep it right around 170. And I'll keep that going for about a half hour. Okay, so we're done the whirlpool. We're just going to finish chilling. Get this down to about 80 degrees. Transfer it to my fermenter, chill it a little more, and pitch the yeast. Alright, so we're all transferred in. We got about 5.5 gallons in there. Just getting down the temp now. The work chiller got us down to 72. We're just trying to bring it down to about 68. And we're going to pitch our wyeyeast 1318. Gonna throw that right in, and then we're going to keep an eye on it. Active fermentation, we're going to throw our first dry hop in. Okay guys, so brew day is over. Here is our finished sample going into the fermenter. You can see that is complete haze sludge. Kind of what you want from a New England IPA. The smell is just pure citrus and a little bit of floral, but this is so far so good. It smells pretty damn good. As far as the taste goes, it's not overly bitter. Usually when you go in, IPAs go into the fermenter, it's like it hurts your tongue. That's how bitter it is. It literally just tastes like juice and wort mixed. So we'll see. So far so good. It looks pretty damn awesome. Brew day went pretty well. We were 5 gravity points higher than what we expected, which is fine. Our gravity to bitterness ratio is a little lower than 1, so it's a little bit to the malty side, but with a New England IPA, that's alright. So yeah, that's it. So I'll follow up with the dry hopping steps and carbonation. Okay, so you can see the speed that we're fermenting. I'd say that's probably a bubble every second. It was a little faster yesterday, so this is 55 hours post-pitch, a little over 2 days. So you can see there, this is starting to slow down. So when I open this, I expect to see plenty of krausen. We're going to toss these hops right on in. So let me open this bad boy up, show you what it looks like inside. So you can see krausen's pretty high. Just going to sit this down real quick. Krausen is up there. Good part about pitching at this time is any oxygen that gets in is going to be pretty much eaten up by the yeast. So let's carefully do this. Get these hops in up. I'm going to drop these. So let me throw these in and then I'll resume. Okay, so we just got done. I had to close that up because it was open a little too long for me. But basically, one thing I will tell you guys is make sure, especially if you're using the SS Brewtech, have something ready to push the hops down. So what I did is I got these tongs, I sanitized these. The hops sat right on top, and especially in the SS Brewtech, there's the chiller inside, and they all stuck to the top of that. So I just got these and just jammed the hops down. I would definitely make sure you have something ready to do that, just to make sure they're in the liquid. You can see now fermentation kicked up big time. I don't know if that's just from introducing oxygen or what, but it's going crazy right now. The other thing I'm doing right now as well is I unplugged the glycol chiller. So what I want now is I don't want any more cold. I'm going to let this free rise. So I have it set at 68. I'm going to let this free rise up to about 72, and then just let it go from there. So I'm not going to touch the temperature at all. If it has trouble getting up on its own, if by tomorrow morning this isn't up to at least 69, I'm just going to raise the temp and let the heat do it. But I'm going to do that to get a little more fruitiness. So again, we're going to wait about 2 or 3 more days to basically let fermentation finish up. Once the bubbles stop and I get a good gravity reading, we're going to do one more dry hop, just to get some aroma in there, and then we're going to transfer. Alright, so I'm kind of excited. Hope you guys are too. Hey guys, so today we are 10 days in to fermentation after the first yeast pitch. We've already dry hopped once at this point. I just started my cold crash yesterday. Basically what I'm doing with that is just trying to get some of these extra hops out of there. So today we're going to be pitching a 2-ounce dry hop. This is going to be more for our aroma than the biotransformation. So it's going to be 1 ounce Galaxy, 1 ounce azzaca. So I'll pitch that now and take a sample. So here's our sample, and you can see the color is just absolutely amazing. I don't know if you guys can see. You can see right there, there's still some hops floating around. This is why I'm cold crashing this. I wouldn't be really afraid to cold crash these New England IPAs. It shouldn't drop too much of the cloudiness, but it definitely will get some of those hops out. Alright, let's taste this. Oh my god, the smell is just unbelievable. It's really just lots of mango, pineapples, oranges. It's just unbelievable. It's just straight up fruit. This is exactly how any New England IPA you can get commercially would smell. Oh, that's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's give it a taste. The taste just matches the smell perfectly. A little bit of grain to complement, but it's just right up front. Lots of hops. Again, with the mango, oranges, maybe a little bit of the tangerines. Unbelievable. So this is good. As for the bitterness, because that was the worry I had since I didn't do a bittering charge, there's definitely some bitterness there. It's not overpowering. It's not like your classic West Coast IPA, but this is good. So we'll dry hop now while it's cold crashed for the next 3-4 days. Get it into a keg and get this carbonated. So it should be about 14 days grain to glass, so not bad. It's exactly what you want. So check back in on kegging day. Alright guys, so the day's here. We're currently kegging. Right now the beer is transferring over to the keg, and this is what it looks like. You can see it's still maintained pretty much all of its haze. Not much hops going on inside, which is good. So if you're wondering whether to cold crash or not with these, I would say yes. Unless you want one of those sludge bombs. This definitely took a lot of that. The hot particles that were in there. There's still a little bit, but it took a lot of them out. This is just a much prettier looking beer rather than what it was before. It was just a mess. So As far as smell goes, it's still maintained most of it. It's a little stronger now with the dry hop, the secondary dry hop. A lot more of that galaxy is coming through. As far as taste goes, it's still on point. A lot of that tropical fruit, a little bit of like the dankness, as they say. Some mangoes, pineapples. That's still all in there. As far as like a greenness, I don't get much of a greenness. Basically, all greenness is it tastes like you just chewed on a fresh hop. There's not too much of that going on. It does leave a little bit of an aftertaste. The bitterness is perfect. So I guess the experiment with not doing any early bittering additions worked. So we still got the bitterness that we needed. All right, so I'm gonna keg this for a couple days, get the carbonation up, and then I will show the finished product. Hey guys, so it's been a while since I've been able to do a video update on the New England IPA, but here it is. You can see it's a little dark now. I think it's going on almost 3 weeks actually. Just bought a new house, as you can see. The scenery is a little different in the background. And got a new phone, so I haven't been able to do this follow-up video. But all in all, came out pretty well. Still has an amazing tropical smell. Taste isn't as fruity as it was. Bitterness is still good. Mouthfeel is still pretty good. All in all, it's still pretty good after 3 weeks. The color has changed a little bit. You will see this a lot in New England IPA style if you get any oxygen involved, which at the homebrew level it's almost inevitable. This was a little dark. When it first came out, it was like this really nice orange hue. In the light, it was just gorgeous. It's definitely maintained its cloudiness. You can see there. The hop aroma and flavor has completely changed, as it should. So all in all, I think this was a successful beer. In my club competition, this actually tied first place, so a lot of people like it. So I just want to go over a couple pointers, just if when you guys do try one of these, or if you haven't tried it, just maybe refine your practice. Make sure you do a pretty big hop whirlpool. That's definitely a big part of it. You're going to get a lot of the aromas and some of the flavors at that lower heat temperature. Your dry hop, obviously, make sure you get that early dry hop. That's the biggest part for the cloudiness, and also for the hop flavor and aroma change you're going to get. And I did a second dry hop where I would normally do a dry hop on a normal IPA. So that's just to give it a little more aroma. It's not necessary, but I did it anyway. So in an upcoming video, I am going to actually do this exact recipe without the oats, so we can see how much the biotransformation actually plays a part in the cloudiness. This one did have oats, as you can see in the beginning of the video, so we'll try that out. We got a couple beers coming up in the upcoming weekend, so in the next month or so you should see a couple videos go up. I am now taking requests for the summer. Now that I'm in my new house, I have a little more time to brew, so if anybody has any requests on anything, comment below and I'll try to brew it. Alright, cheers.